Hey everybody, this is Perch. Yeah, we're reading a mail. Somebody recently, I don't know why, by the way, some people post comments that are just, it's like you're a dick. Like, why are you posting a comment like this? I mean, some guy is like, every time I hear Perch say, here's a viewer mail, I tune out. Okay, thank you for letting me know. I appreciate this valuable piece of information you gave me. I don't give a shit about your opinion, but thank you very much. I'm glad you tune out. Why did you waste the time writing that? Anyway, here's a mail. It says beers on Perch. I'd absolutely show up to this at New York City Comic Con. Heck, I'd get you a beer. I'd love to compare our experiences at Disney, and chat about comics overall. And that's awesome. Thank you very much. I don't know if I'm going to New York Comic Con, but it sounds nice. If I'm in the country, I will probably go there. I've been I've been having a pretty lousy travel schedule as we've been coming into the summer here, and it's been rough. So not gonna lie, haven't enjoyed it, and hoping this is not gonna continue because it sucks. Anyway, let's get to a different mail. So I'm gonna work out all the mail. I'm just gonna answer like five of them in one go. It says, "Hey Pertrino, just a random mail. I moved to the UK. I'm sorry. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. The UK is fun. I it's funny because Twitter or social media will absolutely kind of give a perception about a location. And if you were to go on Twitter, what you would you would perceive the UK and London to be is just a complete absolute hellhole of just crime and nonsense, and they're dragging people out. And the UK has lots of lovely parts. It's like if you were to go visit London for a week, you're not going to see random civilians drug out by the police. I'm not saying those things aren't happening. I'm saying that it's not as common as social media would have you believe. It's kind of that effect of if you see one post, but one event, but it's retweeted 100 times, it feels mentally like it's happening 100 times, not one time, and so your brain just starts to augment it more than it should. Anyway, I moved to the UK for university and finally visited my first exclusive comic shop. It's been a treat after all these months of hearing you as a comic shop owner talk about it. And the owner was nice. We chatted about Brubaker's new book and a little bit of nothingness. It would mean nothing in the grand scheme of things, but was still nice. That was the best part of a comic shop. And you should have told him, like, hey, play Perch inside. No, I'm kidding. And no, as per previous email sent to you, I kept my eye out for the worst scum of the earth, hanging out in the corner, looking up girls' skirts and hated on trans people. But alas, I found none. And I sent a little photo of a bunch of comics, which is awesome. Ultimate X-Men, good stuff. Original Ultimate X-Men, back in the day when like Kirkman was doing a bunch of the Ultimate X-Men. That's some great stuff. Anyway, glad you got to visit a comic shop. That's awesome. And the UK, don't believe what the haters on the internet tell you. There's lots of nice places in the UK. It's not like, I don't know. I mean, everything gets degraded to its, I remember when I was living in Seattle, and but I wasn't living in Seattle. I was living in the Pacific Northwest, near Seattle. I mean, yeah, I'm if I want to brag about it, I was living on the east side, the east side. So I was in the rich person Seattle. And the chop was happening. If you remember the chop, and I think it was the Chaz and then the chop. It was where some people kind of took over a couple city blocks, but not really. The police didn't do anything about it because it was in the middle of COVID. Nobody really gave a fuck. They basically put a bunch of cars there, smoked a bunch of weed, and eventually they started shooting each other, and the police went in. But people are like, oh my God, I hear the liberals are taking over the entire city. It's like, well, okay, number one, that happened in the mid-90s. Number two, they're not taking, like, the anarchists are not taking over the city. They took over a block, like a city block, maybe two, actually, two. I mean, and up in Capitol Hill. Like, for Christ's sake, as some perspective here would be a good idea. Anyway, good times. But you get this impression, like you come down to Texas and it's like, I had a bunch of friends from Seattle, like, you're going to go down there and there's going to be just people wildly shooting guns everywhere. And then, nobody can get an abortion. It's a handmaiden's tale there. And in London, it's like Muslim Central. And it's complete anarchy. And, you go to Japan and everyone's bowing and giving you food. And this isn't how these places are. Like, it's always funny. I traveled to Japan a decent amount. The godfather of my children still lives there, obviously. And I don't want to say obviously, But, every time I go there, every now and then you see people coming through customs, and you could tell they're dumbass otaku Americans who are like they think they're dropping into Pokemon City, and they're just, like they're taking photos on the escalators of the Super Mario, wallpaper that's in Narita, and, it's just it's always very cute. It's like, "Oh, man, these guys are gonna go to Shinjuku at, like, 2 a.m. and get just rolled." Um, oh, well. Anyway. Alright, last mail we're gonna get to. Um, "Hey, Perch, I just" oh, wait, sorry. I wanna read that one. It says, "Where are the laughs?" Sorry, that last one was a personal mail. Hold on. Where are the laughs? Okay. "Hey, Perch, hope all is well as Texas." Nope. "Recently, I have found myself in the mood for a comic series that is funny. Do you know of anything like this? I was thinking about my personal collection, and I really can't think of many funny comics. Do you have any suggestions?" Well, there's The Unfunnies by Mark Miller. You can do that. That's actually The Unfunnies is kind of unfunny in a way. It depends on if you like that kind of dark humor. For me, uh, you know, bang for your buck, and it's kind of hard to get your hands on some of these, but they still exist. If you're gonna pirate stuff, you can find it there. But what the? So there's a Marvel kind of parody thing. Fred Himbeck was in there. You had a bunch of kind of comedic takes, and the series did get dumber as it went along. But man, if you look at like the first 12 issues of that, like there's some good stuff in there. The comic's called What the question mark. And what was cool about that is in this comic, you had legit creators like John Byrne did some stuff, Jim Lee did some stuff. You had like real creators and they did funny stuff. Mike Mignola did some things in there. Like you had like big name creators doing 8-page stories for a comedy book published by Marvel. It was pretty awesome. Um, and I would recommend checking that out. It's older, but it's good comedy. The funny thing is, in hindsight, they're making jokes about kind of tropes in comics, and you fast forward to 2025, and the jokes are actually funny and biting in in some areas. This was a time when Marvel actually was good at making fun of itself, which was man, that was a good time. And so there's some good stuff. They make fun of DC as well. Ambush Bug, yeah, on DC, that's some good stuff. The Heckler, a DC comic, that's pretty good as well. You have good things. I mean, the challenge is, I think modern comics. No, this isn't a video about how modern comics suck. There's this guy, by the way, who posts comics to the Comics Matters, the Your Boy Zach channel, and the guy's like, he just shits on me all the time for being this person who says comics are awful, and I'm like, You're clearly not listening to my channel. I don't know where. Like, it would be weird to get that impression. Weird, weird, weird. It's the meme. Um, I don't know why you get that, but I think how did I get here? I got here from I don't know how I got here. Oh yeah, I'm about to complain about comics, so apparently I'm feeding the narrative. No, that like comics don't do funny very well anymore. It's like they're embarrassed to do something that's true parody. So the comic always has to be kind of cleverly funny, but it's not that funny. I mean, I don't know. Rick Remender had that scumbag book that was kind of meant to be kind of a self-critical parody kind of book. Is meant to be kind of funny. It wasn't great. I think Remender is a good writer. I just that one, but I think comic creators these days are just kind of embarrassed to be funny, and they need to be. Comedy is still good, but to be fair, movies aren't either. Like you don't see comedies going to the theater anywhere near as much as they used to. Yeah, we had the Liam Neeson Naked Gun film, but if you go back in time to the 90s, the movie comedy was a big deal. The John Candy, Dan Aykroyd, Chevy Chase kind of you had some great films back then that were comedies. And you just don't, comedy is kind of out of fashion with media in general. So, I mean, even Weird Al, I don't think is he making music anymore? I don't know. But I'd check out What the. And maybe some viewers of the channel will have some good recommendations for some good comedy books that are just good for some laughs. Um, yeah, I mean, I think a good parody book was good. I miss Marvel when Marvel didn't take itself quite so seriously. I miss that Marvel. That was a good time. But anyway, what do you have? Let this viewer know. Help him out, her out. I'm not sure. Um, what are some good comedy books, parody books that you would recommend? Let me know in the comments below. Let him know or her, whatever. And thanks for listening.